Guys, it is time for our sentence surgeon of the week. It's from the book Faithful Elephants, and here's what our sentence is. While blowing toy trumpets with their long trunks, the elephants walk along large wooden logs. Okay, and the main reason that I chose this sentence this week is because it had a lot of adjectives that were being ordered. And so as far as this goes, this is our additional assignment this week, is that we're going to be ordering adjectives. So this set of notes is going to be put into your ELA binder, because my copy doesn't have the holes in it, but yours should, and it needs to go into the grammar notes section of your ELA binder. And we can go back to this over and over and over again. So ordering adjectives is when we have more than one adjective listed before a noun. So like here, my mom found a shallow plastic pool for my baby sister to play in. I don't want to wear that ugly red velvet dress. A young Australian couple moved into the house across the street. We had such a fun, relaxing vacation. So anytime we're ordering adjectives, we need to keep in mind that there is a specific order that things are supposed to be in. Here's the interesting thing, is that most of us have been speaking English for so long that a lot of these just make sense without us even realizing it. It just naturally tends to be what we say. Like if I were to say my mom found a plastic shallow pool, that doesn't feel right to us. Australian young couple, that feels weird. We had such a relaxing, fun vacation. That one's a little closer. I don't want to wear that red, ugly velvet dress. I don't know. There's just something about it that we automatically know most of the time. Like spooky old house, we wouldn't usually say old spooky house. We'd say spooky old house. It just makes sense. But if you're not sure, we need to follow this order. So the first thing would be the opinion that somebody has about something, if it's beautiful, boring, delicious, things like that. Then the size of something, whether it's tiny, tall, large, deep. Then age, new, old, current, elderly. The shape, round, square, heavy, narrow. Condition, wet, messy, hungry. Color, red, blue, bright, striped. Origin, French, American, Canadian, so like countries that people are from. Material, wooden, plastic, or metal. The purpose, swimming, writing, or math. So whenever we're keeping these things in mind, we don't always have to pull out this list, but we do have to keep it in mind. And most of the time we only have 2 or 3 adjectives, not more than that. So obviously we're not going to have all of these at one time. All right, so let's look at our sentence. So it says, first of all, it ends with a period, which we have been investigating, and we know that periods mean that the sentence is either declarative, which is just a normal statement, or it is an imperative, which is a command. Nobody's being ordered to do anything in this statement, so we're going to consider this a declarative sentence. So a type of sentence is declarative. All right, and as far as whether or not it's simple, complex, or compound, we'll get back to that part later, because a lot of times whether it's simple, complex, or compound depends on how many subjects and predicates we have. After school is walking past the door right now, so I'm going to go close it because they're a little noisy. Okay. Actually, that was literally some of you. Anyway, so let's start with the easy stuff. I like to start with things that I know are nouns. So while blowing toy trumpets. Now here's the thing. A toy is a thing. However, specifically in this case, it's describing the true noun of the sentence, which is the trumpets. So it's like toy is describing it, but trumpets are the real thing. So we're not going to put toy as a noun. We'll go back to what that is later. But in this sentence, that is not a noun. Trumpets is a noun, and it has an S, so it's going to be a plural noun. There's more than one. With their long trunks, so their trunks are their noses. Those are things. Also has an S, so it's also going to be a plural noun. The elephants are things, ending in an S, so another plural noun. Lots of nouns in this sentence. I put nouns with an S, sorry. I think I've got a little whiteout. You don't have to put nouns. Okay. Walk along large wooden logs. So logs are the thing, ends in an S, so it's plural noun. Hopefully you know what plural nouns are after today, no matter what. All right, now let's think about the action of the sentence. So these are things that are actions, okay? While blowing, so that's an action, right? It's something they're doing. They're going, it's an action somebody does. So this is a verb. And the weird thing is that's actually ing we think of as happening in the future sometimes, but this is like a present verb. They're doing it right now. Present tense verb. Toy trumpets with their long trunks. The elephants walk. Walking is an action, so that is a verb. And it's also a present tense verb. So they're doing it right now, according to the sentence. Along large wooden logs. All right, so we have two verbs. We've got our nouns. All right, so now that we have nouns and verbs, we can think about our subject and the predicate. So who is doing all the action in the story? It's the elephants. So even though there's trumpets, the trumpets aren't walking. The trumpets aren't the ones blowing all of that air through them. The logs aren't walking. The logs aren't blowing air. The trunks, technically they're using their trunk to do that, but it's still the elephants doing it. And the trunks aren't walking. So elephants are doing the actions. So elephants, what do? They walk. All right. And even though there's another verb, technically speaking, the elephants are still the ones doing that action, so we're not going to necessarily worry about it. Because we have one subject and one predicate, that's either going to be a simple sentence or it could be complex. And this sentence is a little more than just simple because if you notice, if I say the first part, while blowing toy trumpets with their long trunks, that doesn't all make sense by itself. It cannot stand by itself. It needs the other part of the sentence. The elephants walk along large wooden logs to make complete sense, because otherwise we don't know who's doing the action, we don't really know every detail. So this one's going to be not simple, it's going to be complicated, it's complex. Now if both pieces of the sentence made sense by themselves, so then it would be considered compound. I'll just let that be. All right, and so here's the interesting thing. Whenever you have a complex sentence, you're always going to have a conjunction in there somewhere. Usually we think of a conjunction happening after a comma, but sometimes the author, trying to write things more interesting, they can flip-flop the sentence. We know that the is an article. That's not the conjunction. So the conjunction, if it's not right after the comma in a complex sentence, it's usually going to be at the beginning of the sentence. Conjunction right here. Actually, you know what? I don't even know what I'm telling you guys. I'm sorry. Hopefully you were not writing in pen, because this is really more showing positioning of the elephants. So we're going to make that a preposition, but we'll come back to that later. Okay? Let's do the last easy thing, which is the adjectives. So we did the nouns, verbs, and now we're thinking about adjectives. What are things that describe a noun? So the trumpets, their material or like purpose is as a toy. So that's going to be an adjective. What type? Their toy. Trunks is a noun. So the word before that is long. That describes the trunks. So that's also an adjective. Okay, the elephants walk along large wooden logs. Okay, large logs, wooden logs. Both of these are adjectives. That describe logs. But they have to be in a certain order. Along wooden large logs, that wouldn't make sense. That's because large is a size. So it needs to go first because size on our list is number 2. And wooden is the material. And material is number 8 on the list. So size is first, then material. So that's how that goes. All right, what are the words we have left? We have while, with, there, and along. Yeah, me either, Siri. Okay, so we have while, with, there, and along. Okay, there is replacing the name of something. There is referring to the elephants, right? There is not somebody else, it's the elephants. We know elephants have trunks. So this is a pronoun because it replaces the name of a noun. And then the rest of these in the sentence, we still haven't gotten to prepositions yet, but they're all prepositions. So we can go ahead and label them as that. Just keep in mind how some words end up being prepositions, and eventually we'll talk about them officially. So that's a preposition, and that's a preposition. I've found that many times when I'm confused, me personally, as somebody who likes words and is a huge word nerd, if I'm missing something in my sentence, it's usually going to be either an adverb or a preposition. And I've gotten very good at recognizing most of the adverbs. The prepositions are usually the ones I look up and I'm like, oh, it's a preposition. Oh, it's a preposition most of the time. All right, well, that's our whole sentence, and we got it all done. This video is a little longer than normal because we were talking about the whole ordering adjectives thing, and it was a complex sentence. But we'll be okay. All right, guys, have a great week.